Hi everyone, I'm Sharon from Arding's Creations, and welcome to the third and final video of our 3-card Welcoming Windows Bundles class. Today's card's from a different perspective than the other two previous cards, so I hope you have fun creating with me. So without further ado, let me switch you over and we'll get started. Okay, so let's get started. So the other two cards that we've done previously in the first video and the second video were from the perspective of being outside looking at the windows. But I wanted to do their third one with a different perspective. So this one, we are actually in the house looking at a wall. And we're going to create our background wallpaper and use our shelves and the jugs, which we haven't, the jug and the pots, which we haven't used in other videos. So it's not a lot of layers, pretty simple card, just a basic white cardstock background. So let's get started. So you will need a piece of white cardstock, which is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Make sure you score your thing down nice and tightly, and we're going to actually stamp our background. So let me bring in a scrap of paper, and because we're using polymer stamps, we're going to want our foam stamping behind us. So there are two, we're using our Welcoming Window stamp, and there are stamp set, and there are 2 foliage stamps, and then the flowers for both of those foliage stamps, which we'll be using today. I made this one a Mother's Day card. You can use whichever sentiment you like, but I thought that would be a nice one for this particular one. So colors that I used are Bumblebee, crushed curry, Bumblebee, Granny Apple Green, and Garden Green. So the background is stamped with the two different greens and then the 2 different yellows. You can use whatever colors you like. If you don't have these colors, that's not a problem. If you don't have this colored cardstock, if you have the kits, of course you have them, but if you're just making this on your own, you can make this whatever colors that you like, and just make sure that they kind of coordinate together. So let's do our first stamp with the Garden Green. Now, I'm going to do the whole page. As you can see with the card, you don't see the bottom part because we're going to add this on top, but just to make it easier and make it look a little more realistic and make sure I've got them where I want to be, I'm going to do the whole page. Do some stamping off. Don't stamp, just stamp randomly, but stop some of them off and on. Turn it in different directions. It just gives it a nice wallpapery look. Making sure you leave spot for your other stamp, which is a little bit smaller, not a whole lot, but a little bit smaller. Let's go this way with this one. And then we'll kind of leave this until we do our other one, and then we'll see whether or not we want to fill in some side pieces. So the other one I'm going to do in Granny Apple Green. Let's go this way and that way. Stamp this one off. And then just kind of look where you might want to fill in. I kind of think I want a dark one in there. So let's do this one here. A little edge. And yeah, I need a bit more dark on there, so let's fill in our spaces with the Garden Green. So we'll turn this one, and I don't want that to go the same way, but I want it to fit in there, so let's do it that way. That's kind of good, I think. Don't want it too busy. Okay, so let me just clean these off, so we can use our, did not work well, so that we can use our stamps again for the flowers. Now there's 2 different flowers for the 2 different foliages, And if you pull them off on the stamp set, they're in the container close to each other so you can tell, but if you pull them off and you're not sure which one is which, there's a little trick to telling which one is which. So we'll use this one and this one. So this one, the dark, I've done it in the garden green with the foliage that kind of hangs down a little bit more. It has 3 across the top. And so the one that goes with that has 6 flowers in it and 3 across the top. And you can kind of match them up fairly easily. So we're going to do, let's see, what did I do? I did the darker one in the crushed curry and the garden green one in the bumblebee. So let's just take our bumblebee and we're going to match up those 3 flowers. I hope my head doesn't get in the way there. Just as best you can. They don't have to be perfect. It's going to look beautiful no matter how they are, but just trying to get in those little holes that you can see where the flowers should be. And then when you're stamping off, again, you're going to just try and match that up as best you can. Really pretty colors together, I think. This one doesn't matter as much because it's going to be underneath our base. Okay, so that's our dark one. Let's get that off there. And now we're going to do, I don't need this one anymore. Well, that's not going to work. Well, we'll play with that later. All right, now we're going to use our crushed curry, which is a little bit darker. Now, this one is a little trickier. So you can see that there's 4 main flowers, but what you can't tell, so this is upside down. On this one, the bottom one is straight across. That's kind of the bottom of the flower. The flowers go up on this one. And there is a spot where there's like 3 grouped together. Sometimes you just have to play with it, but if you get these 4, which I believe is like this, that are grouped together, then you're going to have it in the right spot. Just bear with me for 1 minute while I just, because you see there's one there too. So I had this earlier, and now I hope my head is not in your way there. I'm going to try it down here on one that won't matter, just till I can see. 1, 2. Let me just try that one. I'll be able to tell once I do it. It's a little easier to tell with some color on it. So yeah, so there. So you're going to see 1, 2, 3. And that lines up with this 1, 2, 3 that's right there. So don't pay attention to that little one because it's over here. So you see the 3 are just there. So again, we got 1, 2, 3 right here. And that lines up pretty good. So there's our 3. That one's going to line up in there. And same thing here. And here. And this one's just a tiny, tiny bit. We're going to be off the edge here. So this is the tiny bit of the last one that's there. So I'm just going to kind of pick that up there. There we go. All right, that's really pretty by itself. Okay. So now we're going to hit, this is a wall that has wainscoting on it. Let's just get rid of these ones that we don't need so we don't get our fingers in those. And I don't think, no, we need the garden green. We don't need this granny apple one anymore. Okay, so for the wainscoting, this piece is 2 inches by, grab my paper, 2 inches by 4 1/4, and I embossed it with my Pinewood's plank embossing folder. So that gives it the look of a wall. Now, you can do this. You could do it with any embossing folder. You could do it with a brick, whatever would look nice. And if you don't have an embossing folder, even a piece of DSP that looks like wood would be fine across the bottom of there. Or even just a plain would be fine as well. But I just like the look of the embossing folder. So we're going to put this on now. Oops, take the top off there, Sharon. That works better. So we're going to mount that right on the bottom. And then we are going to, I've gone ahead and done these ahead of time. So with the Bumblebee paper, I cut out 2 shelves. And these are actually window boxes, but I thought they looked quite nice as shelves. And I want to pop those up a little bit. So I'm going to put those on with some dimensional strips that Stampin' Up sells, and I really like, because they just, on a straight piece like this, it just makes it so much easier if you can open the package. Okay, let's just pull some of those out. And my scissors. So we need just a couple pieces long enough to do that. So let's just snip a couple here. Peel those off. Now when you cut die cut these, it embosses like a little wood grain on the boxes as well. So you want to make sure that you put them on with that wood grain side up. Cut my fingernails up, and I just cannot pick anything up right now until they grow again. All right, so peel those backs off there. Now I wanted to stagger mine, so I staggered my shelves. I'll just bring the card back in again. So just staggered them a little bit, one to the right. This is your opportunity to cover up any parts you're not happy with. I think that's a little bit plain, so I'm going to actually make sure that I put my shelf. I guess I didn't get the back off that. Make sure I put my shelf where it covers up that little bit of that plain area. Okay, so then you're going to stamp. You need one of each of the small. Just going to get them out here. So we need all 3 of the pots that are in here. And we need the jug. So I stamped 2 of the pots in the TerraCotta, just because I wanted a little bit different color. And what did I do with my TerraCotta? Oh, here it is right here. I wanted to look more like a terracotta pot. So, but again, the colors of the jugs and the pots can be whatever color coordinates well with whatever stamps you've got that you can use. So we are going to stamp one of those, and one of the flat. I did the other flat one in the terracotta tile, and then I did the little one, and the jug. Just pull that off there. And what did I do with my jug? There's the jug in the garden green. I love this little jug. It's so cute. And the jug in the garden green. Okay. So that's your 3 pots and your jug. I might as well stamp the sentiment. Well, I've got my white piece here. So that was the Happy Mother's Day. Let's make this one. Oh, it won't fit. Let's do Happy Mother's. You just need to make sure that whatever stamp sentiment you choose, that it's going to fit on our. Again, you don't have to use this punch, but the punch that I have is the layered oval punch, but you can use any stamp sentiment you want and any punch to print it out, or put your sentiment however you like. That's just your choice. This is just a suggestion. Okay, and I'm going to do that in the garden green as well. Okay. And then that is all of our stamping. So we will get rid of our stamp sets here. TerraCotta goes there. And garden green. Okay, so I went ahead. Now you're going to die cut these. So you have your die cuts that come in your bundle. And the die cuts have the window and your hinges, which we didn't use in any of these 3 cards. But you've got all of your pots. And in fact, you have 2 of the little ones, I think. Yes, you do. So you could cut a couple at the same time. And then your jug. So I placed my die cuts on. And I did put a little bit of washi tape on them just to make sure that they were in the right spot. Run them through my die cut machine and we're all set. But I've already done that, so just for saving time, a little bit of time today. So I've got those done already, and they are right here. But we are going to punch out. I've already done my background. I did the background of the Bumblebee, and so now this is our double layered punch, which is a great little punch. So out of the small one, I'm going to do my sentiment. Make sure we get that just perfect there. Okay. We'll put this right on here while we got this. Get rid of this paper now. Okay, we can get rid of that. So bring back in our card. And then we're going to mount our jugs. Now, before, as I say, I cannot pick anything up. They have no fingernails. And the smaller they are, the harder it is. If you have Wink of Stella, which is this wonderful little sparkle we can add, it's a great little brush. It comes with a ring that you have to remove the ring. The first time I got it, like, why does this not work? But you have to open it, take this off, remove the ring, and then put it back on, and then it will work. So I just want to put a little bit of bling on this jug. So I just did the jugs and it actually makes it look a little darker too, so it's kind of nice. So I did the jugs and the pots. I don't know if you can even see what that does, but those of you in my classes know that we use this a lot, so you're used to this. But if you can just, I'll just see if I can hold it up. It just gets a little bit of sparkle there. It takes a few seconds to dry. So let's mount this with some dimensionals while we're waiting. And as I say, you can use any sentiment you want. And then we're going to mount our pots. Now I put a big one, and I did not mount, I did put a dimensional on the top. So I took the dimensional and kept it really close to the top of the pot because I want it to look like it's sitting on the shelf. So if you don't put anything on the bottom and then you mount this close to the top, it's going to stand up like the other one is, and it looks more like it's just sitting on the shelf, which I kind of liked. And our jug, same idea. Put dimensionals on the jug. Kept it close to the top. And you could run a little bit of tape on the bottom if you wanted, and just kind of use that as your... And let's put this over here. That'll just help to hold it in place. And then the smaller square pot, same idea. Actually, I don't think I'm using... No, I will put dimensional there. I think I'll use a little tiny bit of just the edge. I don't want a full dimensional, so that's why we don't waste anything on these. We use everything up, so I'll just cut a little piece off the edge. And we'll put that on the bottom, on the top, not the bottom. And maybe a little bit of tape on the bottom. Again, peel that off. And we'll put this one beside it. And then our little green one, I put on the top shelf. And of course you can put them wherever you want. But this one I just put some tape on because it's so tiny anyways that you don't really need the... You don't need the dimensional. It's not going to fall backwards anyways. And there you go. There's your card finished. And I don't know if you can see the sparkle there, but the sparkle just adds a nice little touch to it. So that is our 3 cards in the 3-card series. And I hope you all had fun. If you hang on a second, I'll just say goodbye. So thanks again for joining me for this 3-card class tutorial. Watch for our future classes, and so you don't miss them, please hit the subscribe button and you'll get notified of any videos that go up. But if you'd like to be included on my mailing list for the classes, just my email address will be below in the description, along with all the measurements on this video. Or you can also like my Art Inks Creations Facebook page, and you'll see the posting of all the classes on there. Got some pretty exciting ones coming up. We're going to do the Joseph's coat technique in 3 different ways. So that's kind of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. So thanks again for joining me. Please like the video if you do, and subscribe, and see you soon. Bye for now.